Good evening, everyone. The March 11th, 2019 legislative session of Swarthmore Borough Council hereby called to order. This is a special evening. Thanks, everyone, for coming. We really appreciate it. We have a number of honored guests here tonight, one of whom is State Senator Tim Carney, former mayor, sitting there in the front row trying to look inconspicuous. And I guess you all know the principal reason of why we're here this evening, in addition to holding our regular council meeting, and that is to honor Brian Craig and recognize his more than 20 years of service as Swarthmore's Chief of Police. I think most of you know that Brian, like his father and his grandfather before him, was a proud member of the Philadelphia Police Department for over 2 decades, from January of 1971 to October of 1998. He rose to captain in the department, and while he was an officer, fully employed, going to school at night, he completed his bachelor's and his master's degrees at Villanova. Brian was sworn in as Swarthmore's Chief of Police on October 14, 1998. I've had the pleasure personally of working with Brian for the past 7 years. I can say that it's been a real pleasure the entire time. I think one of Brian's chief objectives, and something that he achieved, was to maintain good relations and improve relations with the community as a whole. That is to say, between the police department and the community. That includes both residents of the borough and borough employees, also Swarthmore College. I think Brian was really instrumental in creating an extremely close and positive working relationship with Swarthmore College. He also has been president twice of the Swarthmore Rotary Club, and also president of the Police Chiefs Association of Southeastern Pennsylvania, as well as a number of other professional organizations. Brian's wife and best friend, Pauline, is here with him this evening. Nice to see you. We're so glad you could be here, and we know that one of the things that Brian's looking forward to in retirement is spending more time with Pauline, with his daughter Monica, and his son John Paul, and grandson, in Orlando, Florida. We know a lot of things about Brian. Some of the things you may not know is that he, or maybe you do, is he and Pauline both, I think, are very active in the local Jaguar automobile clubs and rally organizations, fierce competitors in speed and time rallies, and that they also have a special attachment to Disney World, which is completely understandable given that their son and grandson reside there. So I think I'm going to structure this, if you don't mind. We have a resolution put together by State Representative Leanne Kruger-Branke, who couldn't be here this evening, but our Mayor, Marty Spiegel, will read that.
Leanne expresses her regrets that she couldn't be here tonight. The House is in session, so she's doing the people's business in Harrisburg, but she wanted me to read a resolution. I'm not going to read the whole thing because it goes on forever in terms of Brian's history as a police officer, but I will read the important parts. Brian, the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania, the House of Representatives presents a citation. Whereas the House of Representatives of Pennsylvania takes great pleasure in recognizing those citizens who selflessly devote their lives to ensuring the safety of the residents of their communities and ultimately of all the people of this great Commonwealth. And whereas Chief Brian H. Craig is being honored upon his retirement from the Swarthmore Borough Police Department after a career in law enforcement spanning 48 years of dedicated service. And whereas Chief Craig joined the Philadelphia Police Department in January 1971 as a patrol officer and rose to the rank of captain, on October 14, 1998, he was appointed as chief of the Swarthmore Borough Police Department. While serving as an officer, Chief Craig attended Villanova University and earned a bachelor's and master's degree. He also represented the Philadelphia Police Department in a cultural exchange with the Avon and Somerset Constabulary in England in November 1990. Chief Craig faithfully displayed great loyalty, commitment, and professionalism in the performance of his duties as a member of the Swarthmore Borough Police Department since his enlistment. Now, therefore, the House of Representatives of the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania pays a respectful tribute to Chief Brian H. Craig upon his richly deserved retirement, notes with pride and gratitude his record of service, which far exceeds those standards normally ascribed as exemplary, offers best wishes for every future success and happiness, and directs that a copy of the citation sponsored by the Honorable Leanne Kruger on February 15th, 2019 be transmitted to Chief Brian Craig, signed by Leanne Kruger, sponsor, and Mike Terzai, Speaker of the House. Mike?
Thank you, Marty. Now, State Senator Tim Carney.
So we have two houses of government in Harrisburg. And, I sit in the Senate and made the trip back from Harrisburg today to be here for, not the Leanne, but dig up. So that's, so this is from the Senate of Pennsylvania. And it's, whereas Chief Brian H. Craig is being lauded upon his retirement from the Swarthmore Borough Police Department, concluding 48 years of dedicated service, and whereas, and here's a whole long list of all the things you've heard already 3 times, so I'm going to skip over that part for right now. Well, let's pop down here where it says, whereas since his enlistment, Chief Craig faithfully endeavored to preserve and protect the health, safety, and welfare of his fellow citizens. In the finest spirit of public service, he demonstrated exemplary knowledge, ability, and integrity in carrying out his many responsibilities, and earned deep respect and gratitude from all of us for his tireless devotion to duty. Now, therefore, the Senate of the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania congratulates Chief Brian H. Craig upon his well-deserved retirement, affirmatively states that he served Swarthmore Borough Police Department and the community at large with distinction, offers best wishes for a most rewarding future, and directs that a copy of this document, sponsored by Senator Timothy P. Carney, be transmitted to Chief Brian Craig. And it's signed by me and also signed by Joe Scarnati, who's the President Pro Tem of the Senate, and also witnessed by Meg Martin, who is the Secretary of the Senate. As mayor, one of the big, most eye-opening things was actually working with you and the police department and understanding really kind of the work that you do. I think as citizens, it's very easy for us to downplay or minimize the effort that the police really put in for our benefit kind of every day. And it really opened my eyes to that and making me a better senator for the time I spent with you. Thank you.
Thank you, Senator.
You're not done yet.
Just when you thought you were done. So, Borough Council and the Mayor would like to present you, Brian, with a small token of our esteem and affection and recognition for your service for over 20 years as Police Chief of the Borough of Swarthmore. So we're presenting you with this plaque in appreciation for 20 years of dedicated and devoted service. And the real prize, extra secret stories of Walt Disney World. Extra things you never knew you never knew. You can't know what you don't know, right? So we know, as I mentioned, that Disney is a very special place for you, and we hope you'll continue to discover some new things. Thank you very much.
Let me start by saying, just make a clarification. The rallies that we attend, the instructions are generally 5 miles an hour. Under the ocean speed limit. So I have a picture of me zooming around the countryside. That's not what we do. I have to thank Pauline and Monica and John Paul and my family for all the support they've given us. I don't have time, I'm not going to bore you with thanking everybody. I am trying to send out personal thank yous to everyone. I apologize for the handwriting, but I didn't want to do it on a word processor, so it seems more personal. But I want to tell you what a pleasure it's been working with a department where the officers show a level of integrity which in my estimation is unparalleled. Some of the things I tell my Philadelphia colleagues is these officers almost on a daily basis go into people's houses because they've been left unlocked and they're doing security checks or something, or the alarm goes off. And in the 20 years and 6 months I've been here, I have never had somebody tell me that there was something in the house that was there when the officer went in and wasn't there when they left. And it sounds like a joke, but I did internal affairs for 6 years in Philadelphia, and that's it. The point is the integrity level here is just unparalleled. And I know it's difficult for a small borough to have an expensive police department, but you've got a bunch of dedicated people here, the officers, the sergeants, the school crossing guards, Linda and the clerks. And I want to thank this council, all the previous councils, all the previous mayors for allowing this department to go on without any political or undue influence. It's got a culture of the officers doing what is right, and I can't tell you what a pleasure it's been being associated with a government that supports that. So thank you very much.
All right, thank you, everyone. The best part of the evening is over, but the next item on the agenda is the public comment period. Are there any members of the public present who would care to address council on any issue whatsoever? If so, please step up to the podium. Apparently there aren't, so public comment period is closed. We'll move on to my part of the agenda, the first of which is consideration of council meeting minutes of February 11, 2019 and March 4th, 2019. I believe everyone has seen a copy of them. Is there a motion to approve those council meeting minutes?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
Any discussion, changes, amendments? If not, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, the minutes are approved. Thank you. Next item is consideration of a contract for the purchase of electricity with Constellation New Energy done through the Pennsylvania Municipal League. Did I get that right, Jane? This is the Pennsylvania Municipal League, right? And this is the contract that we discussed last week in our working session. Can I have a motion to approve the contract?
So moved.
Is there a second? Second. Any discussion?
No.
No? All in favor say aye. Aye. All opposed? The ayes have it. Motion carries and the contract is approved. Next up is consideration of resolution 2019-02 dealing with the disposal of official municipal records. This again is something we discussed at our last week's meeting. Can I have a motion to approve that resolution?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? The ayes have it. The resolution is adopted. Next, environment. Laura.
No report this time.
Thank you. Finance. Mike.
Yes, a couple things. As mentioned last meeting, the Finance Committee will be meeting on the 25th at 7:30 p.m. in this room. And now moving on to the financial report for February. As you're all aware, this is obviously the beginning of the year, so things tend to get out of whack, although this particular period doesn't seem too out of whack at this point in terms of revenues and expenditures versus last year, basically as you would expect. As everyone's aware, this is the month where property taxes start rolling in, so the cash balance will grow significantly over the next 2 months. And at the end of February, the cash balance was $248,879. Does anybody have any questions as it relates to the first few months of the year? No? Okay. Moving on to wire transactions. I'd like to make a motion to approve wire transactions for the month of February totaling $2,300.19.
Is there a second?
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? The ayes have it. Approved.
And then finally, hopefully everyone's had a chance to review the bills to pay. I'd like to make a motion to approve bills totaling $204,341.01 for the month.
Is there a second?
Second.
Any discussion? I actually have a question, Michael. On the second to the last page, it's Swarthmore Fire and Protected Association. They just kind of jumped out at me because they were the largest items. The first is, it says insurance check for fire. Jane?
So the insurance company remitted a check to the borough for damage to the ladder truck. We deposited it, but they're actually going to pay the bill. So they have the money and they are responsible for the payment to, where do you think? Fleck, for the repair of the truck.
But this money actually came from the insurance company
Correct.
originally? Okay, all right,
Yes.
that was kind of, and then the worker compensation reimbursement?
So the borough buys workers' compensation insurance through the Delaware Valley Workers' Compensation Fund. Trust, sorry. And the borough is responsible for payment for the volunteer fire company. But after a law was passed several years ago, the Firefighter Cancer Presumption Act, which assumed that all firefighter cancers, whether paid or volunteer, were caused by firefighting activities. The Workers' Comp Trust divested themselves of all of the volunteer fire. Most municipalities now use the state fund. The state runs a workers' comp fund, but we've been very fortunate. The fire company already used a company for their paid firefighters, and they have agreed, we've been doing it for about 5 years now, they cover the volunteers as well. So that basically is the premium for the volunteer firefighters for the year. When you see the bills to the Delaware Valley Workers' Compensation Trust, that does not include that payment.
Okay.
Yeah, they've done a great job. I think that premium would probably be, what was it, like 15,000?
15,786.
I would guess it would be at least 10,000 more if we were at the volunteer workers' comp. I'm sorry, the state fund. So it's been a good partnership.
Great. Thanks, Jane. Any other discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? The ayes have it. And those checks and wire transfers have been ratified.
That's all I have.
Sarah?
Yeah, I would like to move to reappoint Courtney Knopp to serve on the Human Relations Commission for another term.
Is there a second?
Second.
Any discussion other than thanks, Courtney?
Yes.
Anything else? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All opposed? The ayes have it. She's reappointed.
Okay, thank you. Also, I just wanted to update, I met with the Human Relations Commission recently, and they are interested in broadening their scope to address bias incidents through education and outreach in the borough. But that this would involve adding probably about 2 new members. So in order to do that, it would require an amendment to the existing ordinance about the HRC. So we're going to be addressing that at our next General Government Committee meeting, which is going to be Monday, this coming Monday, the 18th at 7:30 p.m. in this room. Also, we're going to discuss the library. We're going to meet with Amber Osborne too for a little while on Monday night. And that's all. Thank you.
Thanks, Sarah. Planning and zoning, Betsy.
All right, so I would like to make a motion to authorize the advertising and sending ordinance 1085, the senior cooperative housing ordinance, to the Delaware County Planning Commission for review. Has everyone had a chance to review the changes? Okay.
And those, well, let's have a second. Is there a second?
Second.
And those changes were just to reflect the zoning districts?
Yeah, they were just technical.
Technical.
Yeah,
Okay.
to aid in the code when it gets added to the code.
We wanted it to apply to all zoning districts, and apparently we couldn't say all zoning districts.
Right,
We
yeah,
had to
yeah.
spell
You have
them.
to spell it
So
out.
that change is also being made.
We're gonna have to do it right, and we can, it's probably gonna have to be a separate ordinance. When I looked at it, just seemed too complicated to add it to that. But it came to light in the one that you adopted last time, and the codifier said you need to tell us specifically what district.
What
So we should
sections.
make that same mistake twice.
Yeah, this time.
Yeah.
Okay. Any other discussion? No? If none, all in favor say aye. Aye. All opposed? The ayes have it, motion carries.
Thank you. And as I said last week, since there isn't any business sitting on the table, planning and zoning will not be meeting this month.
Anything else, Betsy?
No,
Thank
thank you.
Thank you. Mary, public safety?
No report, just a reminder that we are going to meet next Tuesday night, the 19th at 7:30 p.m.
Thanks, Mary. Chair of the Public Works Committee isn't here this evening. Is there anyone from the committee that would like to report anything? I guess not.
I don't think that we've reached anything large that would need to be reported upon. That
From
Ross
last,
didn't-
not, yeah.
Ross
You
reported
last
last
week.
time.
Okay.
No.
Yeah.
I can't think of anything.
No.
Great, thank you. Mr. Mayor?
Mr. Chair. Thank you. Just a couple of things. Elise told me I had to be short because she needed to get home early tonight. So I just have a couple of things. The Ray, Chief Stufflet, and I know Chris Reynolds have met in order to talk a little bit about possibly reintroducing a short, abridged version of the police report back into the Swarthmorean as a request from some residents. It's been a long time since we've really had reports in the Swarthmorean, and Ray and I both felt that it was worth looking into, and I know that he and Chris have talked about that, and within the next few weeks try to get something in there that at least outlines some of the more significant issues that people in the community ought to be aware of. There won't be everything. We're not going to talk about parking tickets, but we will talk about things that in fact might make a difference and that people might be interested in. So you can be on the lookout for that. Just be responsive to what people are asking for. The Swarthmore Visioning Task Force, as you probably read the letter or the little small article in the Swarthmorean this past week. The Visioning Task Force has received some responses to their RFPs and proposals, and is moving on to trying to select a company that will help in determining the feasibility of some of the plans that they have been looking at in terms of the downtown, upgrading some of the upgrades to the downtown. They haven't come to any more conclusions in terms of what's going on, but there's movement afoot. So I will be continuing to try to get to those meetings as much as I can and report back to council anything that I feel the council needs to be aware of, to be on top of what's going on with the task force as they move along. So any questions about that? Okay, the letter was pretty clear. I thought it was pretty concise and gave a good understanding of where they stand. And there is some movement going on, so things could happen here in the borough. There's an electronic, I want to just notify residents that there is an electronics recycling and shredding event coming up. Everybody's always interested in that, and I know they call the office about it. Saturday, April 13th, and they're going to be from 9 to 1 at the Acme in Media, or the Acme in Media. They will pick up, it'll be electronic waste. TVs will cost you, but computers will not, to get rid of. Shredding will also be picked up. It will not be hazardous waste. That will be at a different time. I believe the hazardous waste pickup will be, or drop-off will be on Saturday, May 4th at the Emergency Services Training Center in Sharon Hill. So that's not until May, and that's, you can bring paints and any of the solvents that you have lying around the house. So those two things are coming up soon, and other than that, I think that concludes my remarks for this evening.
Thank you. Jen?
I just wanted to thank Dave Grady, who's the assistant manager in Nether Providence. He's actually put together we've been doing a couple of recycling events a year with Nether Providence and media. So it's really thanks to him that we have gotten that going. Recycling continues to move in the direction that we want. We seem to have a lot of people using the recycling center. I think some people have gotten notes on the pizza boxes with the big no pizza box on it. All plastic bags cannot be recycled. It has nothing to do with whether they are recyclable or not. It has to do with when in single stream, they cannot be used in the processing equipment. So all plastic bags need to stay out of the recycling. We're getting there and understanding that. I did go to a meeting with JP Mascaro, which is trying to bring on a new recycling machine that will actually allow a lot of flexible paper to be recycled. We are not currently using them as our recyclers, and the location is probably a little too far away right now. But I was very encouraged there at the meeting. There were actually quite a few recyclers there, plastic recyclers, people who are doing things with product. So it was a little less disheartening than what we've been hearing in the last few months. I do think it's going to take a while, but it looks like maybe some new markets will be developed. Still, obviously, the best thing is to use less in both waste streams. I think that's all that I have. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Jane. Bob?
Thank you, I don't have anything this evening.
Any other business? Anybody? No? All right, can I have a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Second?
Second.
All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Ayes have it. We're adjourned.